Hello there, Biaka Mizudesu and welcome to my review of Resident Evil Zero. So I decided to buy the first two Resident Evil, so Resident Evil Zero and Resident Evil 1, and start from scratch because the only things I have played from Resident Evil are the Revelations games, which I made a review for each of them, and Resident Evil 7, and also the demo of Resident Evil 8. Resident Evil 7 and 8, I didn't like that. Resident Evil 7 was actually borrowed to me by a friend, and I gave the game back to him because I was stuck in a part. I already spoke about that, and I wasn't finding it enjoyable enough for me to stick with it and try and finish it. Maybe one day if I want to be stubborn enough, but for now, Resident Evil 7 onwards are out of my interest. Resident Evil Zero is really interesting because it's from the old Resident Evils. It has the old Resident Evil mechanics. You have the door animations that I already knew about. You have lots of stuff that are really characteristic of the PS2 games, if I'm not mistaken. The story. So you have Rebecca Chambers and Billy Cohen. He will later join the team, and you actually have a lot of locations per se in this game because you start this adventure in the middle of a forest. You enter a train. The train starts moving towards a mansion, which is Marcus Mansion. I don't remember his last name. I only remember that his name was Marcus. He's one of the scientists for Umbrella. Then you go to a church, and the church has a connection to some kind of factory, laboratory, where you end your game. So it's a lot of places that are connected to each other because hidden stuff. But I really enjoyed the story. You have the villain, which is, well, this is actually spoilers, but I will talk about a lot of spoilers. If it even, because Resident Evil Zero it has some years, so I don't know if at this point it's spoilers for anyone. He's actually Marcus. He was transformed by the leeches that he so loved. So this scientist has some kind of obsession with leeches, and he is this kind of opera singer that controls leeches. He's like a fabulous villain. It was interesting the mechanic because they introduce him singing, like he's hypnotizing or commanding the leeches through singing. He also has an organ and an orchestra accompanying him, but that doesn't make any sense because he's alone. That's details. Never mind that. But he's basically on the revenge. I don't know who he wants to revenge from because he is trying to hurt or Birkin, I think, but he's actually attacking Rebecca and Billy because they're the ones you're controlling. I don't know what's really his point, but whatever. Okay, I guess. And Rebecca actually she's with her team, but she actually ends up alone at the train, and the train starts moving, and her only ally is Billy. Billy is introduced as a criminal, basically. It says that he killed a lot of people, and as you know Billy, you will know that he was actually a soldier and he was sent on some kind of war, and he received orders to kill basically a village that didn't attack anyone during that war. And I didn't understand from the flashbacks because it seemed like he received the blame without actually doing anything, because from what I understood from the flashback, he was actually trying to stop people from massacring innocents, but I'm not sure, because when he talks about it, he talks with a lot of regret, and sometimes you would see these really weird reactions from Billy when it came to the problem with the leeches and the zombies, and I thought, were you experimented on? Do you know something? But it is never confirmed. But they show some weird expressions and reactions from Billy at some points. I really enjoyed Rebecca. Maybe she's not a really loved character in the Resident Evil community, because I don't see a lot of people talking about Rebecca, and it's understandable. From what I know, she's protagonist on this game and appears in Resident Evil 1, and she basically retires after that, although you have an animated movie, was it Vendetta? I don't know, I have to confirm that, where she's also the protagonist and she wears this beautiful bride dress, although it is for really creepy reasons. But I liked her design and model, and I also like her here. One thing that I can say about this game, though, is that the voice acting is really awkward at times, because I know they have really short cutscenes where they just say two, three sentences to each other, and it goes on to the action part. But the voice acting sometimes it's a little painful, a bit amateurish, from what I hear. But it was a really fun game. About the mechanics, I really struggled with the inventory. So you have Rebecca with 6 slots and an extra slot with personal items, because Rebecca has her strong points as well as Billy, and Billy is the same thing. So he has 6 slots in his inventory and an extra one with personal belongings. I actually had a really frustrating moment where I was like, I need fire, and then I realized through a walkthrough, because I couldn't get unstuck from that place, that Billy actually has a lighter, and I wasn't getting that. Well, it was a really frustrating moment until I realized I had the thing I needed all along, because it was in the personal belongings of Billy. And managing the inventory was really my biggest nightmare in this game, because it's you have only 6 slots, and then from the get-go you have well, Rebecca doesn't have the knife. You actually find one for her, but she has you need a slot for the weapon. You need a slot for the ammo, because a weapon without ammo is useless, and you need a slot for the ink ribbons. So 3 slots are already taken. And unless you want to always leave stuff on the floor, you only have 3 slots, and it's good if you have on you at least one healing item, so 4 are already taken. What do you do with 2 slots? Carry an important item that you need to solve a puzzle? Because that's basically it, and sometimes you were forced to have items that take 2 slots. For example, the grappling hook. You needed that in more than one moment, because I thought that you only used it once on the train, and then it was the end of it. And I actually had to backtrack a lot for that grappling hook, because you also needed at the church. And that really pissed me off, because I had to go back all the way, manage my inventory so I could have the grappling hook, but also don't leave anything that I needed behind. It was awful. The inventory space is really limited, and if you want to have at least one good weapon like the grenade launcher or the shotgun, you need at least 3 slots for those because both weapons take 2 slots, and then you need the ammo because the weapons without the ammo are useless. So the inventory is really difficult. I saw some people that are really used to the game. They probably played it I don't know how many times, and they knew exactly what to do with the inventory, and they actually had free space. But for a beginner like me that isn't used to this inventory stuff, it's really, you have to leave stuff all the time. I'm not saying that I want to carry everything that I find with me, but it was really difficult to manage. Also, I really like the mechanic of switching between Rebecca and Billy. Sometimes one of them would become stuck at one place because, for example, talking about what they can and cannot do. Billy can move heavy objects or press or push heavy leverages. And Rebecca can crawl through tiny spaces or can be carried by the grappling hook because she's lighter. And you have to manage these things because sometimes you have a character stuck in one place and you had to do stuff with the other, and there was a small elevator that you could give items to both of them. It was really interesting to try to manage, and although I did stick with Rebecca most of the time, I was almost all the time controlling her. It was really fun switching to Billy and using different stuff. I actually gave Billy the shotgun. Rebecca only had Molotovs and the basic gun. So I would, when we were fighting bosses or difficult enemies, I would switch to Billy to use the shotgun, and it was really interesting to manage between the two of them. Of course, I play the game on easy mode, but even on easy mode, some enemies are a pain. My top 3 enemies. Well, I wouldn't say 3. I only have 2 enemies that really annoy me in this game. And the number 1 spot is actually taken by a goddamn frog. Those giant frogs at almost the end of the game were a pain, really, because they would just insta kill one of them. And there was a part where I was alone with Billy, but it doesn't matter. Even if you are with a team member, even if you are with both of them at the same time, if the frog launches his tongue and grabs one of them, it's game over basically. And I died so many times to that enemy. I was really becoming frustrated because I don't know if it's possible, but I couldn't kill. Well, did I kill one frog at a time? I don't know, but I feel like you can't kill them, and when he grabs one of his legs, you can't do anything. I tried to hit him. I tried everything. It's just game over. I did actually find a way to avoid this because he only launches his tongue if you are far away from him. So if you manage to be really on top of him shooting, you can prevent this. Either that or I was really lucky when I did that, so I will stick with that opinion. And the number 2 that annoyed me because they were really resistant or I didn't know how to find their weak spot was these tree-like monsters, because they seemed that they had like a tree texture, because they took a lot of bullets and they still managed to keep attacking, and they had this extensive arm that did quite a damage. So they were a pain because they took a lot of bullets, and when they exploded, sometimes I was stuck in a corner and they would explode and take a lot of damage, take a lot of health from Rebecca and Billy. That was also a pain. But you have a lot of different enemies, which I really enjoyed, because you have insects, you have dogs, you have monkeys. The monkeys were also difficult because they would jump and would be difficult to get to aim. but I could deal with those. The bosses are kind of easy also to manage. They weren't that difficult. Uh, Again, I feel like besides those two enemies that I said, that my biggest enemy is managing the inventory. And I actually was surprised because when I saw clips of these Resident Evil games, I would always think, how the hell do they aim? Because I'm used to third person slash first person shooter games. So I was like, how do they aim? But you kind of have, at least on easy mode, I don't know if it's the same for every difficulty, you have this like automatic aim, and as long as Billy or Rebecca have their bodies directed to the enemies, they would aim in the right direction. You have to use the analog stick if you want to shoot an enemy that's on the air, or if an enemy is crawling, so you can change the altitude of your weapon to um, aim to your target. But apart from that, it's pretty much automatic. You also, I didn't understand. I think in the entire playthrough, I did one headshot. I don't know how I did it. I think it was pure luck, but apparently you can do headshots. I don't know how. I don't know how I aimed for that. I don't know. But there are a lot of interesting moments, really fun. I really like that I could play the piano, and apparently Rebecca doesn't know how to play the piano because I got a trophy for her not being able to play. Billy does, so it was interesting to know that. And the game, I think it's visually stunning. I think it's really complete. At the end of the game, I unlocked Lich Hunter mode and Wesker mode. I actually tried to play because I wanted to see what was Wesker mode, and from what I can see, Wesker mode is basically playing the story all over again, but now Rebecca has a new visual, more similar to what Jill Valentine has on Resident Evil 5, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and Billy is replaced by Wesker. But this is really stupid because you still hear the voice actor for Billy, and it doesn't change anything because Rebecca still calls him Billy. So you are playing with Wesker, but he's Billy. And then you have Wesker in the story. It's a mess. Although the visuals are interesting and Wesker has different abilities from Billy, it's also a little bit pointless because it's really just a skin for Billy. So it doesn't make really a lot of sense. For Lich Hunter, I'm not sure what you do, but I will later on add what this is, because I tried to look in the menu. I didn't see anything. I don't know if it's from what I understood, it's some kind of mini game, so I don't know if it's something you can encounter during a new playthrough. I will later explain what that is. And basically that's it. I played on easy mode, so I thought the game was really accessible. Sometimes I was stuck on some puzzles because I wasn't finding. I was stuck a lot of time in a puzzle where I didn't have the lighter because I didn't know that Billy had that with him. But the puzzles are accessible to do. You go through the game quite easily. Sometimes you die. It's really because I could have saved a lot more times. I'm not used to games where I have limited ammo, limited saves, so I was always trying to save up as much as I could. And because of that, I actually ended the game with a lot of ink ribbons. And I could have saved more often and avoid doing like half an hour of playthrough all over again because I died to frogs. That will always be the number one thing to get me pissed off. But it's a really good game. I really enjoyed. My favorite character from this game is Rebecca. I think Rebecca deserves a lot of love because she's an awesome character. She's really cute. Maybe she's not a very Resident Evil character, but I think she's a really good character. You see Wesker, but you don't see a lot. You see also Birkin. Then you have the final boss. I actually was controlling at the final boss. I was controlling Billy because I thought you had a certain order. With Rebecca was responsible for opening the hatch because the monster would his weakness was sunlight, and Rebecca had to open the panels in a certain order, and I thought, I'm afraid that if I do that I will mess up, so I stuck with Billy, was trying to distract him so Rebecca could do her thing. I don't know if you receive different trophies if you play with one or switch to the other, I don't know. I just stuck with Billy and let Rebecca assume autopilot to do that final part. So that's it for me for Resident Evil 0. I'm really interested in playing Resident Evil 1 and all the games that follow. So tell me your favorite moments. If you want, always check out my Twitch channel because I'm not playing Yakuza Kiwami, but later on, after I finish this game, I will play Resident Evil 1. So if you want to see that, go there. Share your favorite moments, your favorite characters of this game, what was your biggest difficulty on this game, and as always, if you like this video, like, subscribe, share this, and I will see you next time.